You got 3 days, Marcus. 3 days or we take the apartment. The landlord's voice cut through the thin walls as he slammed the door. Marcus Rivera stared at the eviction notice, hands trembling. 23 years old, working 2 minimum-wage jobs, and still drowning. His mother's cancer treatment bills had piled up faster than he could count. $85,000 for the surgery she desperately needed. His bank balance showed $47. 23. He'd tried everything legal. Loans denied. Fundraisers that raised barely $3,000. Social programs with waiting lists stretching into next year. His mother didn't have next year. His phone buzzed. A text from his old friend Danny. Heard about your mom. There's a way. Meet me at Roselli's bar, 9 p.m. Come alone. Danny had disappeared into Chicago's underworld 2 years ago, working for the Valentino family, the Mafia organization that controlled the South Side. If you're watching this unfold, subscribe and comment where you're watching from. Let's continue. At 9 p.m., Marcus stood outside Roselli's, a dimly lit bar in Little Italy. Red neon flickered above the entrance. He pushed through the heavy door into a world of expensive suits, low voices and power. "Marcus, over here!" Danny waved from a back booth, looking different, confident, well-dressed, wearing a gold watch that probably cost more than Marcus made in 6 months. Marcus slid into the booth. "What's this about?" "Your mother. I know the hospital sent her home because you can't pay." Danny pushed a thick envelope across the table. $50,000. For the surgery. No strings attached. Marcus stared at the envelope. "Nothing's free. What's the catch?" "Smart man." A new voice emerged from shadows. Marco Valentino, silver hair slicked back, eyes sharp as broken glass, approached with 2 bodyguards. His suit screamed wealth and danger. Valentino slid into the booth. Marcus Rivera, 23, works 2 jobs. Mother, Isabella Rivera, stage 4 pancreatic cancer. Father died when you were 9. Police officer, killed in the line of duty. "What do you want from me?" "Your father was a good cop. Honest, rare. I respected him." Valentino's voice carried controlled intensity. "The system failed you. Your father served 16 years, died protecting civilians, and this is how they treat his family? That $50,000 covers the surgery, but there's more for the right person. What would I have to do? I own legitimate businesses, construction companies, waste management, restaurants. I need someone handling accounts, managing payroll, legal work. Danny tells me you studied accounting before dropping out. I completed 2 years. Perfect. $40 an hour, full benefits, and your mother's medical bills covered by company insurance. All of them." It sounded too good. "What's the real job?" Valentino laughed coldly. "Loyalty, Marcus. You work for me, your family. Family protects each other, but family also expects absolute loyalty. You don't ask questions, don't talk to cops, don't betray us. And if I refuse? You walk out with that 50,000, save your mother, and we never speak again. But in 6 months, when bills pile up again, you'll remember you had a choice." Marcus looked at his phone. A text from his mother's nurse. "Her condition is deteriorating. Doctor says maybe 2 weeks without treatment." 2 weeks. "I'll do it," Marcus said. "I'll work for you." Valentino extended his hand. "Welcome to the family." As Marcus shook that hand, something shifted inside him, relief mixed with dread. He'd crossed a line to save his mother. The weight of that decision would follow him forever. "Danny will show you the office tomorrow, 9 a.m. sharp." Valentino headed toward the exit. At the door, he paused. "Your mother never needs to know where the money came from. Some truths are better left buried." After Valentino left, Marcus slumped in the booth. "What did I just do?" Danny refilled their glasses. "You saved your mother. You gave yourself a future. Is it really just accounting work?" Danny's pause lasted too long. "At first, yeah, but the family takes care of its own. Just keep your head down and don't ask too many questions." Marcus called his mother's nurse. "Schedule the surgery, I have the money." Walking through Chicago's snow-covered streets that night, Marcus didn't feel like a criminal. He felt like a son who'd do anything to save his mother. The moral implications were problems for another day. Tonight, he'd made a deal with the Mafia. Tomorrow, he'd start paying the price. The Valentino construction office occupied the third floor of a renovated warehouse in Little Italy. Marcus arrived at 8:45 a.m., 15 minutes early, wearing his only decent suit. Robert Chen, a thin man with wire-rimmed glasses, greeted him warmly. "Marcus, welcome. Mr. Valentino speaks highly of you. You'll track expenses, process contractor payments, manage payroll for 300 employees." Marcus scanned the binder. "This looks standard." "It is. We run a legitimate business, Marcus. Sure, Mr. Valentino has other interests, but this company is completely above board. We pay taxes, follow regulations, keep winning municipal contracts." The work was complex but manageable. For several hours, Marcus absorbed passwords, file structures, payment schedules. His mind was sharp, despite little sleep. At lunch, Danny appeared with sandwiches. "How's the first day?" "Good, really good. It's all legitimate work." Danny's expression shifted. "About that, sometimes Mr. Valentino needs special projects handled, projects requiring creative accounting." Marcus's sandwich turned to ash. "Money laundering. Financial management. Look, it's simple. Money comes in from various sources, gets mixed with legitimate revenue, emerges clean. You'll just be making entries, adjusting numbers. That's illegal. So is dying because you can't afford health care." Danny's voice hardened. "Your mother's surgery is Friday. Hospital received $85,000 from Valentino Construction's insurance. Want to cancel it?" "When does this start?" "Not yet. Chen will have you doing straight work for a couple months, then gradually they'll bring you deeper." After Danny left, Marcus sat alone, staring at industrial carpet. He'd known the deal was too good, but knowing intellectually and facing it practically were different. His phone buzzed. His mother. "The hospital called. Surgery is scheduled. Thank you. You saved my life." Marcus closed his eyes, fighting tears. For that message, he'd crossed the line. The afternoon continued with training. At 5:30 p.m., Chen handed him an envelope. "Your first week's advance, $2,000. Mr. Valentino wanted you to have extra, get a decent place." Walking to the train that evening, Marcus felt the weight of cash in his pocket, the promise of his mother's surgery, the reality of his new life. He'd entered this world to save one life. He just hoped it wouldn't cost him his soul. The train rattled through the city, carrying Marcus toward a future he could no longer control. In his pocket, $2,000. In his heart, growing weight. He was no longer just Marcus Rivera, poor kid trying to survive. He was Marcus Rivera, employee of the Valentino crime family. Tomorrow, he'd get fitted for expensive clothes. Friday, his mother would have surgery. Monday, he'd continue learning his new job, walking deeper into a world where the line between legitimate and criminal blurred until it disappeared. He'd made his deal with the Mafia, now came living with it. Friday arrived with unseasonable warmth. Marcus sat in Rush University Medical Center's surgical waiting room, hands clasped, leg bouncing nervously. His mother had been in surgery for 4 hours. Danny sat beside him. "She's going to be fine. Dr. Patterson is the best in the state. Valentino made sure of that." "How does he have this much pull?" "The Valentino family donates millions to this hospital. When you have that influence, you get the best doctors, no waiting lists. Blood money building hospitals." "Money's just money, Marcus. It doesn't care where it came from. What matters is what it does. Right now, it's saving your mother." A surgeon emerged, mask pulled down. "Mr. Rivera, the surgery went well. We removed the tumor. The cancer hadn't spread as far as we feared. With treatment, her prognosis is cautiously optimistic. Relief hit Marcus like a wave. His knees buckled. Danny steadied him. Can I see her? Give it an hour, then briefly. Later, Marcus sat beside his mother's hospital bed. Isabella looked small, fragile, surrounded by tubes and monitors. But her breathing was steady, face peaceful. Her eyes fluttered open. Marcus? Hey, Mom. Surgery went great. You're going to be okay. Tears rolled down her cheeks. I was so scared. You're stuck with me, never leaving. How did you afford this? The hospital said everything was covered. Marcus had rehearsed this lie. Dad's pension claim finally came through. Took years, but they approved it. Covered everything. Isabella squeezed his hand weakly. Your father's still taking care of us. Guilt twisted Marcus's stomach. His father, an honest cop, would be disgusted. But what choice had Marcus really had? Rest now, I'll be here. As his mother slept, Marcus listened to machines beeping steady rhythms. He'd saved her. Whatever came next, he'd saved her. Danny reappeared. She looks good. Yeah, thanks for being here. That's what family does. Speaking of which, Mr. Valentino wants to see you tomorrow. Marcus's peaceful moment evaporated. What does he want? Probably just checking in, but Marcus' advice? When Mr. Valentino talks, you listen. Don't interrupt, don't question, don't challenge. Life's easier that way. Is that how you survive? Danny's smile was sad. It's how you stay alive. Big difference. That evening, walking to the parking garage, Marcus asked, You ever regret it? Joining the family. Danny unlocked his Mercedes. Sometimes. Late at night, I think about the path not taken. Then I remember eating ramen every day, my mother's electricity shut off, feeling powerless. The Valentinos gave me power, money, respect. Yeah, there's a price, but everything has a price. They drove through Chicago in silence. Marcus thought about power, choice, the infinite shades of gray between right and wrong. Inside his apartment later, Marcus collapsed on the couch. His phone showed missed calls from the warehouse. He'd quit that morning. No more minimum wage. He was committed now. Sleep came in fitful waves, dreams mixing his father's disappointed face with his mother's grateful tears. When morning arrived, Marcus felt more tired than before, but his mother was alive. That's what mattered. Everything else was secondary to that overwhelming truth. He'd made his choice. Now he had to live with it. Saturday morning, Danny picked Marcus up at 9. Dress nice, meeting Mr. Valentino at his restaurant. They drove to Lucia's, an upscale Italian restaurant in River North. Valentino sat at a corner table reading the Tribune, espresso before him. He looked relaxed, yet commanding. Marcus, sit. Valentino gestured across from him. Danny, give us 10 minutes. A waiter brought Marcus espresso and a cornetto. How's your mother? Good. Surgery went well, thank you. Valentino waved dismissively. Family takes care of family. Robert tells me you're a quick study, already mastering the software, asking smart questions. It's interesting work. Is it, or are you trying to understand the whole operation before we bring you deeper? Marcus's heart raced, but he maintained eye contact. Can't it be both? Valentino laughed, genuinely. I like you, Marcus. You're honest, even when lying would be safer. Your father was the same. You knew my father, knew of him. Daniel Rivera, 15 years on the force, killed stopping a robbery. He arrested 7 of my men, always by the book, never took bribes. I respected him, even though he cost me money. Would he be disappointed in me? Probably, but he'd understand. Your father fought against reality, and it killed him. You're adapting to reality, using it to survive. Different approaches, same goal, protecting people you love. That's generous. It's truth. Morality isn't black and white. It's 1,000 shades of grey. Valentino leaned forward. In about 3 weeks, Robert will hand you financial records that don't make sense. He'll tell you to input them. No questions asked. Money laundering, exactly. And you'll decide, again, whether to continue or walk. I want you to understand what you're choosing. The legitimate and illegitimate are so intertwined, you can't separate them without collapsing everything. And if I refuse? Valentino's expression hardened. You leave the family. Your mother keeps insurance. I'm not a monster, but you're out. No more job, protection, connection, and if you ever talk to police... He left the threat hanging. I'd never talk. I believe you, but understand this. Once you cross that line, you're complicit, part of the operation. No going back. You become one of us, with all benefits and risks. What kind of risks? Honest question deserves honest answer. The FBI watches us constantly. If you make a mistake, create a trail they can follow. You become a liability. Liabilities are addressed. You'd kill me? I'd protect the family. Sometimes that means protecting you. Sometimes eliminating threats. You're smart enough to do this work without mistakes, but understand the consequences. Marcus pushed away the cornetto. I'm 23. 4 days ago I worked at a warehouse. Now I'm discussing money laundering with a mob boss. Life moves fast when you make deals with the devil, but you're not trapped. Not yet. You have 3 weeks of legitimate work. Use that time to decide if you can live with this life. If not, walk away with my blessing. If yes, commit fully. Half-hearted criminals get caught. Danny reappeared. Valentino stood, extending his hand. Think about what I said. No pressure. This is your life. Choose wisely. Walking to Danny's car, Marcus felt overwhelmed. He's giving me an out. Yeah, but take it, and you're back to square one. Minimum wage, drowning in debt, watching your mother die. Is that really better? Marcus spent the day with his mother at the hospital. Isabella was stronger, talking about coming home soon, maybe taking that Puerto Rico trip she'd always dreamed of. Every word strengthened Marcus's resolve and deepened his guilt. He'd saved her with devil's money. Now he had to decide if he'd keep taking it. 3 weeks. He had 3 weeks to choose his future. The weight felt heavier than anything he'd carried. The next 3 weeks passed quickly. Marcus immersed himself in legitimate work, mastering Valentino Construction's accounts. He learned how they bid contracts, managed subcontractors, maintained the appearance of legality. Robert Chen proved an excellent teacher. You have natural aptitude, Chen said, reviewing Marcus's quarterly analysis. You see patterns, catch discrepancies. Marcus had caught one. A vendor charging $5,000 for materials worth $3,000. He'd flagged it, expecting praise. Chen's expression was odd. That vendor is special. Don't worry about their pricing. Understanding dawned. That inflated invoice was probably the beginning of money laundering. Marcus let it go, taking his first small step toward complicity. His mother came home after 10 days. Marcus had moved them to a decent 2-bedroom apartment in a safer neighborhood. Isabella cried, seeing it. How can we afford this? My new job pays really well. We can finally live properly. She hugged him. Your father would be so proud. Each lie carved deeper holes in Marcus's soul, but seeing his mother in a clean apartment with hope in her eyes made the lies easier. Danny visited often, bringing groceries, ensuring Isabella had everything. It was manipulation disguised as friendship, and it worked perfectly. At work, Marcus met other organization members. All seemed like normal business people. Only occasional comments hinted at the criminal enterprise beneath. Valentino stopped by twice, asking about Isabella's recovery, treating Marcus like valued family. The crime boss had a gift for making people feel important, easy to forget his capacity for violence. The 3 weeks ended on a grey Monday in late March. Robert Chen called Marcus into his office at 10 a.m. sharp. Close the door. Marcus's heart pounded. This was it. Chen slid a flash drive across the desk. Financial records from sister companies. Input them by end of business. Match them with existing construction projects. Make them look like standard expenses. Marcus picked up the drive, impossibly heavy. Sister companies. Businesses Mr. Valentino owns. Legitimate businesses, but revenue sources are complicated. Your job is simplifying them. This is money laundering. Chen's expression hardened. This is accounting. You input data I give you. Don't interpret, don't question, don't discuss. Do the work, collect your paycheck, keep quiet. If I refuse, you're done. Mr. Valentino gave you time to adjust, but this is the job. Either you're in or out. Marcus stared at the flash drive, the point of no return. Once crossed, he was complicit. He thought about his mother, about her covered medical bills, their new apartment, her actual survival chance. He thought about going back to minimum wage, watching her die slowly, the powerlessness that had driven him here. He thought about his father, honest cop who died for principles. Would Daniel Rivera be proud or disgusted? Marcus slipped the drive into his pocket. I'll have it done by 5. Chen's expression softened. Good choice. You're smart enough to understand morality is a luxury poor people can't afford. Do this work, keep your head down, and you'll never be poor again. At his desk, Marcus inserted the drive, hands trembling. The files opened, spreadsheets showing revenue from various sources. The numbers were odd, rounded, clearly dirty money needing cleaning through Valentino construction. For an hour, Marcus sat frozen. He could still walk away, but what old life? The warehouse replaced him. His mother depended on Valentino's insurance. Their apartment lease was in the company's name. He was already entangled. Marcus began typing, matching dirty revenue with construction projects, creating false invoices, building the paper trail. Each keystroke felt like crime, betrayal of everything his father stood for. But it also felt like survival. By 4:30 p.m. the work was done. Marcus had laundered $3 million through Valentino Construction's accounts. The numbers looked clean, legitimate, unquestionable. He brought the drive to Chen's office. All done, clean integration, should pass any audit. Chen reviewed it, nodding. Excellent work. Mr. Valentino will be pleased. He pulled out an envelope. Your real salary starts now. $20,000 a month, deposited offshore. Official salary stays $40 an hour for taxes, but this is actual compensation. $20,000 monthly, $240,000 yearly, more money than Marcus imagined earning in his life. That's for keeping quiet and doing good work. Mess up, talk to wrong people, it all goes away. I understand. Walking out that evening, Marcus felt different. He'd crossed the line. He was no longer desperate. He was criminal, actively participating in organized crime. Outside, Chicago's rush hour surged. Marcus used to be one of them. Now he was something else, darker, more complicated, more dangerous. His phone buzzed. Danny. Heard you did good work. Drinks at Roselli's to celebrate? Marcus texted back, I'll be there. At Roselli's, Danny raised his glass. To family, to survival. Marcus clinked glasses, bourbon burning. To choices we can't take back. Regret is useless. Forward is the only direction. They drank in the dimly lit bar, surrounded by other Valentino members. All shared something, hardness in their eyes, careful speech, the look of people who'd crossed moral lines. This was his world now. These were his people. Marcus Rivera, son of an honest cop, was now a money launderer for the Chicago Mafia. The weight would follow him forever. But tonight, with bourbon warming his blood and his mother's life saved, he could almost pretend the price was worth it. Almost. 6 months passed like a fever dream. Marcus became essential to operations, his skills making him invaluable. He laundered millions, created complex corporate structures, managed offshore accounts. His official life looked perfect. Nice apartment, expensive clothes, his mother recovering beautifully. Isabella had gained weight. Her color returned, doctors calling it miraculous. She started volunteering at a community center. She never questioned the money. Marcus told her his accounting job paid extremely well, that he'd gotten promoted. She believed because she wanted to. His unofficial life was darker. He attended meetings where construction projects meant drug operations, vendor issues meant gang problems, contract negotiations meant arranging hits. He never directly participated in violence, but he financed it, cleaned the money that paid for it. Danny became his closest friend, the only person understanding their duality. They'd grab drinks after work, talking about sports and movies, while avoiding the criminal enterprise employing them. "You ever think about getting out?" Marcus asked at a Bulls game from Valentino's corporate box. "Every day. Then I look at my bank account and remember why I stay. It's not just money. We're trapped." Danny drank his beer. "We're not trapped. We could walk away tomorrow, but walking away means going back to being nobody. After tasting this life, could you really go back?" Marcus couldn't answer honestly. He'd grown comfortable with money, respect, power from being Valentino family. His moral compass had shifted slowly until he barely recognized who he'd been. Work brought new challenges. The FBI opened an investigation into Valentino construction, sending auditors. For 3 weeks, Marcus lived in terror. He'd prepared the books meticulously, but fear gnawed. Chen remained calm. "Auditors see what we want them to see. As long as you didn't make mistakes, we're fine." Marcus hadn't made mistakes. His work was too good. The auditors found nothing, praised attention to detail, closed the investigation. Valentino rewarded Marcus with $50,000 and increased responsibilities. "You proved yourself," Valentino said privately. "Most people crack under pressure. You stayed calm. That's worth more than the money you launder." "I was terrified." "Good. Fear keeps you careful. Overconfidence gets people caught." Valentino poured expensive scotch. "How's Isabella?" "Amazing. Last scan was clear. Doctors talk about remission." "I'm glad. Your father would be happy she's recovering, even if he'd hate how you paid for it." Valentino raised his glass. "To complicated choices and the people we love." They drank. Marcus had developed taste for fine things. Good scotch, tailored suits, luxury cars. He'd become what he'd judged others for being. The comfortable life had dark moments. One night, Marcus overheard Valentino ordering someone's death on the phone, describing it like a business transaction. "Clean it up. Make it look like robbery. I want it done tonight." Marcus left quickly, not wanting to know more. That night, he couldn't sleep, imagining whose life had ended. The violence he financed wasn't abstract anymore. It was real, immediate, horrible. He called Danny at 2 a.m. "I heard Valentino order a hit." "Then you didn't hear anything. Memory's funny. Sometimes we remember wrong." "I'm serious." "So am I. You heard nothing. You know nothing. That's how you stay alive. Selective deafness is survival." Marcus stared at his ceiling in darkness. He'd made peace with money laundering, with financial crimes. But murder? That was different. Except he already had. Every dollar he laundered financed violence. Every spreadsheet enabled murder. He wasn't pulling triggers, but he was loading guns with money. The realization hit physically. He wasn't just morally compromised, he was an accessory to murder. If caught, he'd spend decades in prison. If rivals came after Valentino's, he'd be a target. He'd traded poverty for prosperity, but the cost was higher than imagined. Morning came with no answers. At work, Marcus performed duties mechanically. Chen noticed his distraction. "You look tired. Everything okay?" "Just didn't sleep well. This job can weigh on you." Talk to Danny if you need to. After work, Marcus met his mother for dinner. Isabella looked vibrant, healthy, telling stories about kids she mentored. Her joy was real, gratitude endless. She hugged him tight. "I'm so proud of you. You saved my life and built something meaningful. Your father would be so proud." Each word was a knife. His father would be disgusted. Walking home through Chicago streets, Marcus felt the weight of every choice. He couldn't go back. He couldn't undo his crimes. He could only move forward, living with consequences, hoping the price of his mother's life didn't ultimately include his soul. The city lights blurred. Somewhere in those lights, someone had died tonight on Valentino's orders. Somewhere, a family grieved, and Marcus had helped make that death possible. He was no longer the desperate kid who'd walked into Roselli's. He was something darker, more complex, more guilty. But his mother was alive. In his moral calculus, that still counted for something. It had to. The breaking point came in October. Marcus was working late when Valentino and 3 men brought someone into the back office. The man was beaten badly, face swollen, hands bound. Blood dripped onto expensive carpet. "Marcus, come here," Valentino called casually. Marcus obeyed, stomach knotting. "What's going on?" "This is Anthony Russo, works waste management, been skimming money for 6 months. Valentino circled him like a predator. "How much did he steal, Marcus?" Marcus's throat went dry. "Based on discrepancies, I found approximately $180,000. See, my accountant found what you tried to hide." Valentino pulled out a gun, checking the chamber. "Now Anthony's going to disappear. And you're going to clean the books, make those payments never exist. Can you do that?" "Yes." The word came automatically, survival overriding morality. "Good. Loyalty is rewarded, betrayal is punished. Simple rules." Valentino's men dragged Russo toward the door. The condemned man's eyes met Marcus's, pleading, terrified, human. Then he was gone. Marcus never saw Anthony Russo again. That night, Marcus sat in his apartment, hands shaking, unable to process what he'd witnessed. He'd essentially signed a death warrant by finding discrepancies. His accounting skills had directly led to murder. He grabbed his phone to call 911, to report everything, to end this nightmare. His finger hovered over the dial button. Then he thought about his mother, about the FBI investigation that would follow, about witness protection separating them, about Valentino's reach, about Isabella learning the truth. Marcus set down the phone. He didn't call. Instead, he opened his laptop and began erasing Anthony Russo from Valentino Construction's financial records, carefully removing every trace. It took 4 hours, but when finished, the books were clean. He'd become complicit in murder. The next morning, Danny appeared with coffee. "Heard about last night, you okay?" "Do I have a choice?" "No. But for what it's worth, Russo knew the risks. You steal from family, you pay the price. It's not a game, it's a man's life. It was a man's life. Now it's a problem solved." Danny's tone was matter-of-fact. Marcus stared at his friend, seeing him clearly. Danny wasn't a victim. He'd chosen this life, embraced it, thrived in it. "How do you live with it?" "By remembering where I came from. By remembering my mother crying because she couldn't afford electricity. By remembering the powerlessness." Danny's voice hardened. "This life isn't pretty, but it's better than the alternative. You save one life by being here, your mother's. That has to be enough." "Is it enough for you?" Danny didn't answer. He just finished his coffee and left. Over following weeks, Marcus spiraled. He drank too much, slept too little, jumped at sudden noises. His work remained impeccable, Self-preservation demanded it, but his mental state deteriorated. He'd see Russo's eyes in crowds, hear the car starting in nightmares. Isabella noticed. "You seem stressed. Is work okay?" "Just busy season. Take a vacation," as if he could escape. The crimes followed everywhere because they lived inside him now. One night, drinking alone at Roselli's, Marcus considered ending it. Not suicide, but disappearing, taking cash, fleeing to another country, starting over with fake identity. But Valentino's would find him, or punish his mother, or the FBI would catch up. All paths led to destruction. He was trapped in a cage he'd built himself, one choice at a time. Valentino joined him at the bar. "You look like hell." "I'm fine." "No, you're not. You're drowning in guilt, questioning everything." Valentino ordered whiskey. "I'm going to tell you why I respect your father despite being on opposite sides, because he understood that morality is survival by another name. Your father chose to survive by being honest, following the law. It got him killed, but he died true to himself. I chose to survive by being ruthless, breaking laws. It's kept me alive 40 years. Valentino leaned closer. "We're not so different, your father and I. We both chose how to survive. He chose justice. I chose power. You chose your mother's life. That's not wrong, Marcus. That's human. I helped murder someone. You helped eliminate a thief who stole from people who trusted him. Russo made his choice. He chose betrayal. Consequences followed. How do you sleep at night? Peacefully, because I accept what I am. You're suffering because you're still pretending to be something you're not. You're not the honest cop's son anymore. You're one of us. Accept it, and the guilt fades. Fight it, and it destroys you." Marcus drank his whiskey, the burn almost comforting. "What if I can't accept it? Then you'll break, and broken people make mistakes. And mistakes—" Valentino didn't finish. Over the next month, something inside Marcus shifted. Not acceptance exactly, but adaptation. He stopped seeing himself as Marcus Rivera, good person forced into bad situations. He started seeing himself as Marcus Rivera, criminal who'd made choices and lived with them. The nightmares lessened. The guilt remained but became manageable, background noise instead of deafening roar. He threw himself into work, becoming even better at laundering money, creating untraceable trails, protecting the organization. His mother continued improving, eventually declared in remission. She cried with joy, thanked God, thanked Marcus. He smiled and accepted her gratitude, the lies flowing easily now. Danny noticed the change. "You seem better." "I accepted who I am. That's the hardest part. Once you accept it, the rest is easy." "Is it easy for you?" "Easier than fighting myself every day. We are who we are, Marcus. Might as well be good at it." Marcus nodded. He was good at it. Excellent, actually. Valentino trusted him with increasingly sensitive operations. Other families requested his services. He became valuable, respected, feared even. 1 year after walking into Roselli's bar, Marcus sat in Valentino's office reviewing accounts. The crime boss studied him with approval. "You've exceeded every expectation. You're not just an employee anymore. You're essential to this organization. That comes with rewards and responsibilities." "I understand." "Do you? Because I'm promoting you. You're now head of all financial operations. Every dollar that moves through our businesses goes through you first. That's trust, Marcus. Don't make me regret it." "I won't." Valentino smiled. "I know you won't. You're your father's son, loyal, capable, driven. You just chose a different side of the law. That's the only difference." Walking out that evening, Marcus looked at Chicago's skyline. 1 year ago, he'd been desperate, drowning, powerless. Now he was powerful, wealthy, untouchable. The cost had been his innocence, his moral certainty, maybe his soul. But his mother was alive, she was thriving, she was happy. In the end, wasn't that what mattered? He'd saved the person he loved most by sacrificing the person he'd thought he was. He'd made his deal with the devil, he'd paid the price, and somehow, despite everything, he'd survived. Marcus Rivera had been poor until he made a deal with the Mafia. Now he was rich, powerful, and forever changed. Whether that was a good thing or not, he'd probably never know, but it was his truth now, his reality, his life, and he'd learned to live with it, because in the end, survival was all that mattered. Everything else, morality, justice, righteousness, were luxuries for people who didn't have to choose between their principles and the people they loved. Marcus had made his choice. He'd live with it. He'd thrive in spite of it. He was no longer the desperate kid who walked into that bar. He was something else now, something darker, something stronger, something that would never be poor again. And his mother was alive. In his world, in his moral calculus, in his heart, that was enough. It had to be enough, because it was all he had.